If you could say one word about what that episode was like, what word would you use?
Exciting.
Exciting. I would use weird.
Exciting and strange.
Exciting and... It definitely was exciting and strange. Yeah. Hi, welcome to our review of Wild Blue Yonder.
Rose is waiting.
I will get you home.
Hello, I'm Phil. Welcome to my channel. I like to talk about geeky pop culture, including Doctor Who. With me, as always, for these Doctor Who reviews is my daughter. She's helping me review them. This week, she's actually watched the whole episode.
Yay.
Last week, she missed a big chunk in the middle. But she's watched the whole of it this time, and it was weird, wasn't it?
Very weird.
But
like, the two of them, like the clones, are like... At the start, where they arms just went like that, and that's like, ew, I don't even want to see that.
It was so strange, but in a really good way. I absolutely loved it. There were a lot of fan expectations for this episode because it had been kept in such secrecy because it was all recorded in studio. I did my own predictions video. I don't think any of those predictions were true, but they were wild, thrown in the air. I suppose, kind of, in a way, had two doctors in it, but they were the same doctor, which gave us so much great stuff. Starting at the beginning, yeah?
Sorry, I just want to say I have a favourite part in it.
Okay, what was your favourite part?
Where they were growing like so big that they got stuck to each other. I was like,
oh, in the big mass of like,
Yeah.
and they filled the whole corridor up and couldn't move.
yeah.
Yeah, that was good. The one bit I have almost universal praise for this episode. This was an episode that was like I think on par with like Midnight or the Heaven Sent or something like that for how it will be remembered, for its uniqueness. But the one little flaw I have for it is the pre-title sequence, which is a bit random and doesn't serve into really any of the plot for the rest of the episode, has a completely different tone of the rest of the episode. So there's this just random thing about running into Isaac Newton. Is that Isaac Newton? Yeah, Isaac Newton. Do you know who Isaac Newton is? So, you know what gravity is?
Yeah.
The thing that holds us to the earth. The force that pulls down. Well, he discovered it. And he discovered
at
it.
the start, him just
Yeah.
randomly in there like a little fairy tale bit.
Yeah, it was a bit weird.
And then it just goes on to a whole nother thing.
Yeah, and it was a completely different tone to the rest of the episode, and I don't think it fits. And the only way it really played into the rest of the episode is where they think about gravity and the solution of the thing, I guess. And I think they've altered time so that gravity is now called Mavity. I think that's what they were getting at, which I like the little callback to the beginning, but it's just it was such a completely tonally different scene from the rest of the episode that it feels like it doesn't fit in this episode. And I think starting the episode with them landing in the creepy place and something happening that then leaves us going, maybe the TARDIS disappearing would have been a good way to go into the titles as a kind of dramatic moment. But instead we get this weird scene with Isaac Newton. It's the one thing about this episode that I think is a bit odd and doesn't quite work. We get to one thing I like is that we're getting to see a bit of difference. We get these moments, some last week and some this week, where we get to see the difference between the Doctor number 10 and Doctor number 14. Played by the same person, obviously, but there are these subtle differences. Last time it was him, saying he loved Donna, and he's like, oh, do I do that now? Well, this time it's finding Isaac Newton hot, and he was like, oh, is that the type of person I am now? Apparently it is. He's the type of person that finds Isaac Newton hot now, whereas presumably 10th Doctor wouldn't have done, I guess. Or possibly any other Doctor, who knows. So I like seeing that there's not that much difference between 10 and 14, but there are little bits there, enough to be like, oh, okay, this is a new incarnation, he has some differences, and they seem to be pointing that out. Were there any bits you didn't like?
Let me think. No,
No?
I like it all.
Good. That's alright then.
What about you?
Only that first scene, really. The pre-title sequence with Isaac Newton. Didn't quite get why that was there. But other than that, I thought it was really well done. Even before we got introduced to the doppelgangers, there was this creepy atmosphere. and they mixed the creepiness and their sort of camaraderie really well. That worked really well.
Oh, there is one bit I didn't like, where he said all these complicated words that I can understand.
He does that a lot.
I know.
Any doctor tends to do that quite a lot.
I know, but this time I was like, more.
Yeah, I think he makes it up half the time. That preview we got in last week's Unleashed, where he licks the thing and seems to have a reaction, I kind of had the slight suspicion that it might be a fake out, and it was, so there wasn't really anything to come from that. But then we got the scene where we saw the duplicates kind of first come in, and we know quite quickly that they're duplicates because they're showing both scenes happening. Well, initially when the Doctor comes in and starts talking to Donna, we don't know, but then we cut back to the real Doctor, and it's obvious that that other Doctor is a duplicate. And then Donna comes in, so we know that as well. What I liked is when they did it a second time, and they sort of get separated again, and then they run into their duplicates again. But this time, we don't know which one is which. We knew who the real Doctor and Donna were in those first scenes, but in the second scenes, the way they cut it and put it together was so cleverly done that we didn't know. And that went on for a good while until eventually they slip up and we get to find out how. We were told we were going to get some references to the Timeless Child and Flux in this episode, and we did get them because the duplicate of Donna, having gotten all of Donna's memories, knows, because she was the Dr. Donna, knows what's happened in the intervening, these 15 years for her. God, that's like thousands of years for the Doctor. She knows all of that because Donna knows all of that. Does Donna know it, or can she not figure it out because it's too much information for her human brain? That's left ambiguous at the end. But the creature definitely knows it. And so when he sort of references the fact that they're trying to guess who's the duplicate and work it out if the person they're talking to is the duplicate or real, and they're talking about where they were born, he says he was born on Gallifrey, and the duplicate goes, but you weren't, were you? Because he doesn't know where he was born because he came through this rift. Do you remember that from the stuff about the Timeless Child from last, when Jodie Whittaker was the Doctor?
Probably not.
Probably not.
But what was it like?
So the Doctor had thought he was from this planet Gallifrey for his whole life, but then discovered that he was actually found and adopted by a Gallifreyan, and who did experiments on him and took the regeneration power that he already had from the race that he came from and gave it to the rest of the Gallifreyans. So all the Time Lords only can regenerate because they took the power of that from the Doctor when they were a child. So that got referenced, as did the Flux and the guilt that the Doctor feels for the Flux happening, because obviously that was all to do linked in with Tecteun and his adopted mother and all of that sort of stuff. And confirmation that half the universe was indeed destroyed.
Did he live with someone then? At
Well,
the start? Like, how was he born then?
So the earliest we know about the Doctor now is that they were found outside some kind of rift when they were a child. So probably about your age. They were found and adopted.
So we don't know how, like, who born him or anything?
No, don't know any of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was all a mystery now. I mean, it was fairly mysterious. We didn't know who the Doctor's parents were even before on Gallifrey, but now we also don't know what planet they come from. I thought there was some really good acting, both from Catherine Tate and David Tennant here. David Tennant getting to play an evil version of the Doctor effectively was really good. David Tennant does a brilliant evil, especially like if you've seen Jessica Jones, the Marvel series Jessica Jones, that is fantastic, and he plays a brilliant villain in that. And he was fully on display here. The menace he can bring to an evil character is really good. So it was great seeing his range and stuff in this episode. Similarly, I mean, with Donna, the emotional stuff at the beginning when she thinks they're going to be stuck there and she's not going to be able to get back to her family, that really tugged at the heartstrings. That was really nice too. And I thought the resolution was really well done as well. It wasn't rushed. It was them working it out, and how it was just a very clever plot that I think worked really well. You're playing with your squidgy stuff there.
It's called slime.
It's not slime, it's more like putty.
It says slime.
Maybe it's an evil alien creature. come to get us. At that moment at the end where the TARDIS comes back and they're going to be saved, and the Doctor has to choose which Donna, because he again doesn't know which one is which, to come onto the TARDIS, and he chooses the wrong one. It would have been so easy to just choose the right one straight away, but he doesn't. He chooses the wrong one. He's not infallible, and he only works it out at the very last minute and goes back for her. I thought that worked really well, and it gave us a chance to see Donna thinking she was going to die, thinking she wasn't going to get back to her family again, as the ship explodes in the distance and gradually gets closer to her, and she gets saved at the last minute. I thought that worked really well as well. And then they go back to Camden, back to Earth, return her to her family, but a few days off. They didn't quite get back when they left, and first of all, Wilf is there. Yay, good to see old Bernard Cribbins. I know he only filmed the scenes in Camden before, unfortunately, the actor passed away. So I don't know if we'll see him again next episode, but it was fantastic to see him again. It was really lovely. Good old Bernard Cribbins. And then, of course, we find out that everyone is going slightly mad and fighting with each other in the streets, and things are blowing up, and a plane crashes, and this is going to lead into next week's episode, The Giggle with the Toy Maker. So it looks exciting, but that's next week. This week, overall, fantastic episode. Loved it. I loved it much more than last. I enjoyed last week, but this one I think is going to be up there with, possibly some of the top episodes of Doctor Who of all time. I think it's got that kind of. It's unique. It's got moments where it pulls at the heartstrings. It gives our main characters the chance to show their acting range quite a lot. There's a lot of great stuff in this episode. What about you? What do you think about this episode overall?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Do you think it's one of the best episodes you've seen, or would you not put it quite that high up?
Yeah, I put it personally, if I had to be I can never say it. Specific.
No, you got me not saying it. Specific.
Specific. I can't say it. Anyway, if I'd probably go for like 4th place that episode.
Okay, cool. Good result all round then. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments down below, and we'll be back to review The Giggle next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.